Yeah.
Hey, Jesse. Jeff Ruder with The Athletic here. Very contentious game. You knew that there would be physical. We talked about it yesterday in the matchday -1. Penalty call, benches raising. Overall, how did you feel about the run of play in that 90 minutes?
Yeah, it was a crazy game. Felt like we were very much in control of the match in the first half. Guatemala was spirited and aggressive. And then, moments change matches. And the double yellow right before half obviously then changes the match. So it's frustrating. I don't think the first one on Schaffelberg is a yellow. I agree with the second one, but not the first one. And, our guys fought hard. And we have a lapse in the second half for 1 second, and we pay for it. And other than that, Guatemala is not that dangerous, and we can't seem to find a way to get even down a man with some opportunities around the goal, and on set pieces couldn't quite be effective enough on set pieces. And so then in the end we lose on a penalty shootout and extra kicks. But I'm still very positive on this group. I think we made a lot of progress with a lot of players. Segur, Saliba, Jebison, Waterman, a lot of guys, I think, that have taken big steps forward that have shown that they're going to be a big part of this moving forward. And I'm just, I feel bad for the group because I know how bad they wanted it. But it's important for us to lose, or important for us to learn from this, because I think we lose because we beat ourselves. And we can't do that in important matches, and we certainly can't do that next summer.
Doug?
To that point, Doug McIntyre, Fox Sports. To that point, Jesse, you talked a lot about wanting to turn some of the progress that you've made with this team into trophies. Didn't happen in March. It didn't happen here. What do you have to do between, first of all, how much of a setback is that? And what do you have to do between now and next summer to put yourselves in the best position to have a good performance?
Look, I'm relentless in the idea that we're going to keep improving this team. If I'm honest, we're missing half of our group, and so that's not an excuse. I still felt really strongly that this was a really good group, and it was really important to develop more players with this team and see how far we could push it. And I wasn't talking that much about a trophy as much as I was talking about moving forward day by day, game by game, and making sure that we were up for the challenge. We fall short, right? And that's painful. And, I do think that going further and giving ourselves a chance in both March and in June would have done wonders for this group in terms of what next summer would be. However, I'm relentless in my pursuit of development and improvement with this team, and I believe in these guys entirely.
Jesse, Andy Gritter, St. Paul Pioneer Press. Obviously, when you go into PKs, the goalkeeper's at a disadvantage. Did you or did Dane feel like there were opportunities left on the table for saves, especially early in PKs?
Yeah, look, it's always a little bit of a crapshoot. We scouted a bunch. The Panenka player, I think, Lom, we scouted that, and we wanted him to stay in the middle, and then he leaned a little bit. So that one was a little bit unfortunate, but he guesses right on the first two, and if he can get more of a solid hand on it, then maybe he makes a save. That's how you look at penalties, right? It's the margin of error once you get to penalties is so small, and then I feel for Luc de Fougerolles, who's a young player who has a big future, and obviously he harbors a lot of responsibility for missing the penalty. But I told the guys, we win as a team and we lose as a team, and we learn from it, and we grow, and we get better, and we are fixated on exactly what it's going to take to be successful next summer.
Just a quick follow-up on Andy's question there.
Yeah.
Procedurally, after 5, do the players pick themselves? Do you have a full sequence of the 11 in terms of kick order?
We went through, we went through 7, right? So we went to 7, and then next would have been either Alistair or the goalkeeper or Richie, right? So we had already talked about, okay, 6 and 7, and then we were already talking on the bench if we went to 8 what we were going to do.
Got it. And then just unrelated, you made some changes, obviously taking Tejan off and then Jonathan coming off as well. Do you have updates on them?
Yeah, Tejan felt his hamstring a little bit, so it was unfortunate that he couldn't push more, but he gave everything he had. And, Jonathan, what do you say? The guy committed himself this entire tournament without a contract in 3 days or whatever, a day. Like, he's an amazing, amazing person, an amazing player, and he was a phenomenal captain this whole time. Really, really did a great job. So he's okay. He's okay.
One more in the room, Doug.
Yeah, Jesse, just to go back to the penalties, I know you knew the format coming in, but
Yeah.
going from 90 minutes and then straight into penalties,
Yeah.
we know why they do it. How much harder does that make that to have to?
It's
go into that?
fair. I think they do it because they're not trying to push the players' performances and loads too much. So I'm okay with it, and we knew what it was, and we've got to find a way to win that game. That's the last point, I think.
A few questions virtually. Neil.
Thank you, John. Jesse, Neil Davidson from the Canadian Press. You said that you win as a team, you lose as a team, and that you didn't think one of those yellows was valid. But was this a learning moment for Jacob?
Yeah, 100%. Jacob's gutted himself. He knows how impactful the red card is in the match. You talk about a learning moment. Yeah, I mean, it's easy to talk about learning moments, but it's also really difficult to process that for Jacob right now and for the team. Like, we're so disappointed. We feel like if we stay even up in that match, that we're in control and we're going to find a way to get a win. So obviously I feel for Jacob, but he's got to learn from that, and the team does too. The team does too. And I also think on the goal that Derek turned out, he turned off for a second and got caught on that as well. So yeah, we need to find ways to make sure in the best matches that we are the most solid.
John Molinaro. John, we're ready for you.
You there, John?
John? Okay, we'll move on to Andrew Jones. Andrew?
Thank you, John. Jesse, commiserations on the defeat. Do you feel that this is the toughest defeat that you've experienced so far with the Canadian national team? And have you had a chance to talk to Steven Eustáquio about how Porto has not let him come over and just how he's feeling with dealing with all the frustrations at Porto at the moment?
Yeah, this one's really hard to swallow. The third place match last year, we thought we played really well and lost in penalties. That was hard to swallow. I think in March against Mexico, we really wanted that one. We've got to learn how to win the biggest moments, right? And we've made a lot of progress since I've been the national team coach, and I really like this group and I really believe in them. But we have to find a way now to make sure we're at our best in the toughest games and in the toughest moments. And we're going to figure that out. And I promise you we will learn from this and we will move forward. Steph was gutted to not come in general, and so in the end, I know that he'd help us in a game like this. I know his experience and his ability to really understand how to control the match. But I also think it was really valuable for Nico and really valuable for Mathieu Choinière and for Nathan Saliba. So, and when you look at the overall development of the group and what's necessary for next summer, a trophy would have meant a lot, but I think the responsibility for those guys also will help them grow and help prepare them for what next summer is.
Two more. Joshua.
Jesse, you've talked about how important a trophy would be for the confidence of this group heading into the World Cup. What are the steps you and the staff have to take to ensure that this loss and the tournament exit doesn't fester long term?
Yeah, I mean, look, you have time now. I don't see these guys for a month and a half, or about 2 months. We'll do some work internally until we get there. We'll be discussing with the leaders in the team, how we move forward, how we manage this. But they're strong men. They're really committed to this. They're really motivated to make sure that next summer that we represent the country in all positive ways. And, as hard as it is right now to swallow, we're going to find a way to make sure that we're better for it and that next summer we're more prepared.
Last one, Ben Steiner.
Jesse, you mentioned about the importance of learning to win in these big games and big moments. With no competitive games until the World Cup, how are you guys going to be able to do that as a staff?
Yeah, I mean, we'll create some things internally that reinforce the competitiveness and the will and and how important the results are. But you're right. The reality is, friendlies are different than meaningful matches. They carry more. I don't believe in the word friendlies for international football, but we will still have to find ways to make sure that the urgency and the understanding of what the best games require, that we find ways to reinforce that every single time we're together.
We thank Jesse Marsch for his time. A reminder that you can
Thank
find the
you.
complete press conferences on the CONCACAF Media Hub platform.